Hey, y'all. Hey, just as I said here, I am doing a bare bones, not very complex show here today for Movies America Live, okay? Because Movies America Live HQ is under construction, so to speak, with my iMac that I typically use for the show, basically, that I run everything from my command center is looking pretty much like I remember Quint's boat towards the end or at the end of Jaws, right? Where Quint's boat is sinking. They got Jaws on their ass, and Brody's on there with that gun. He's got to shoot Jaws to survive and whatnot. Well, so that's what my iMac is looking like right now. It's looking like Quint's sinking boat. So I'm literally in a race against time right now because right now my iMac could crash at any possible moment. Okay, so that's why I come in. I don't have my intro. I don't have my countdown. I'm not going to play any of the videos or anything like that here because every single time I try to do something on this iMac, it takes forever. I get the spinning color wheel of death there, and if you work with Apple and iOS, you know exactly what I'm talking about right there. But you will nonetheless hear my opinion of Joker Folie à deux, or Folie à doudou, or Folie à doll, as some people, including this guy, would call that. Okay. And I mean, the reason that I am not a big fan of, I'm just going to call it Joker 2 from now on, is because you don't get to see Joaquin act as Joker. Okay. Like where we left off in the first Joker, he was getting interviewed by what looked like a psychiatrist or a social worker or something like that at the end of the first Joker. And they imply that he killed her because he walks out of the room in the all white environment, right? He's got like blood on the bottom of his shoes. He's tracking bloody footprints, right? So they leave you at the end of the first Joker as here's this guy. He's fully embraced being Joker. He's shooken off. He's shaken off the weak, passive Arthur Fleck part of him, and he has embraced this more charismatic and bad. I will say it's bad. He's a murderer, right? He's bad, but that's why they call him a villain, right? That's why they call him the Clown Prince of Crime, right? That's the Joker. So that's where we left off at the end of the first Joker, and I would have been perfectly fine, as most people that you're hearing from, if you pay attention to social media or watch YouTube reviews of Joker 2, that's what they were all fine with as well. Like they would have been just fine with Joker just being a standalone movie and just letting Joaquin Phoenix Joker end with him walking down the hallway with the bloody footprints right there. And that's it, right? We didn't need a Joker sequel. Matter of fact, Todd Phillips, the director, and then Joaquin Phoenix, obviously the star, they weren't too hyped up on a Joker sequel as well, right? But as one would suspect, since Joker, the original one, was the first R-rated movie to cross the $1 billion barrier, of course, the suits at Warner Brothers were like, "You're going to make another one, right? Right? You're going to make another one, another Joker, right?" Because there's like, "Oh my God, this thing's a cash cow." We didn't really believe in it, before it actually came out. But now that it's a $1 billion hits, well, we want more. All right, we don't care about art and leaving people wanting more. That we're executives. Okay, we're suited and booted, clueless when it comes to art executives. We don't understand the concept of leave the audience wanting more. Okay, we went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, went to all these business schools, but we're still too dumb to understand the concept of leave the audience wanting more. Okay, like just leave the Joker movie alone as a standalone movie and move on to some other project. Okay, move on to something else. But the Warner Brothers executives, they only think one way and one way only there, and so that's unfortunately, we didn't get to see Joker be Joker in this because they concentrated more on the Arthur Fleck character, because the movie starts out and it's not the Joker kind of dancing around and embracing the full Joker persona that you saw at the end of the first Joker. It's just Arthur being like this, he's being this very diligent, or not diligent, but obedient, compliant prisoner, in the prison wing of Arkham Asylum there. He's being very compliant and friendly with all the guards. And so but the whole time you're thinking, well, maybe he's just being that because, he's planning something, right? He's plotting something. Little do these prison guards know, man, what the Joker's got plotted out for them. I mean, he's just playing it cool until he can strike and make his move to escape and that kind of thing. And he is completely neutered in this movie. You just don't get that at all in this movie here. And hey, we got Agent X6 here in the live chat. Good to see you there, Agent X6. Hopefully we can keep this show on the road here longer than shorter, I guess what I'm saying here. So we're on a very thin thread here today on this bare bones edition of Movies Merica Live. But I'm gonna up my hardware. I'm gonna get a whole new hardware setup and that kind of thing, and get this set up by Thursday for the Movies Merica spoiler warning show, where I will of course be going over Joker 2, but with all spoilers. Okay, we're gonna get very spoilery, and I have a feeling that we have a few more people that have seen Joker 2, because if you get on social media or you get on YouTube, people got something to say about this movie. And to that end right there, of course, as you probably heard, this is, some people would call this a musical, right? It's kind of being marketed as a musical. It's got music in it and whatnot, but the musical numbers in this, I found them to be like an annoying version of what we saw in the movie Moulin Rouge. Remember Moulin Rouge with Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor, the Baz Luhrmann movie from 20 years ago, whatever. And in that movie, they took like pop hits, right? And they sang them. They made them their own, right? They had like U2 songs and Elton John songs, and they basically sung them that way. And it was part of the story, right? It was kind of describing what was going on with the Moulin Rouge plot. Well, in Joker 2, they sing show tunes, right? They sing like pop songs. Like most of them are like from the 60s, like 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like they have The Carpenters' Close to You. They have That's Entertainment. They've got what's the other one right there? Like just a bunch of like you hear the songs like, oh yeah, those are old songs, right? From the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But they don't really move the plot forward. They're just, the movie is going along, and then they just start kind of like speak singing, right? Okay, they're not really outright singing, except for a couple of scenes where Lady Gaga is, that's what I call her, is just outright singing, what you would consider singing here. But the vast majority of the music numbers in this are them just talk singing or speak singing here, and it just comes from out of nowhere, and it just takes away from the plot that you do get kind of wrapped up in if it's your first time watching this movie. Because like I said, if it's your first time watching Joker 2, you keep thinking, I'm assuming you're going to keep thinking like I did, like, all right, they're having Joaquin Phoenix play more Arthur Fleck than Joker, but I'm sure they're leading up to something. This is the calm before the Joker storm, right? Okay, he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna go nuts, right? And we never see that. We never see that. So, but while you're thinking that there's going to be a buildup, and this is the calm before the storm, the musical numbers are like at least tolerable and that kind of thing. I think what I would have done with the musical numbers is, this is an R-rated movie, right? So what I would have done is I would have had a scene with the musical numbers where the first musical number we get is Joker just being Joker, like where he goes and he just goes on this bloody rampage. He's just killing people left and right, okay? And he's singing music, he's singing a song the whole time, and it's just this psychotically bloody, gory, murder scene here where he's just ending lives, right, and that kind of thing. Okay, and then so do that so that you set up the precedent that, oh my God, when we hear music from now on in this movie, people are going to die. There's going to be a shocking scene. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be gory. So that when you hear music, it's like this foreboding thing, like so that way you're on pins and needles for the rest of the movie, right? And so, you'll have that first bloody scene where he's singing That's Entertainment or he's doing Sinatra's My Way or something like that, right? And then they continue the movie. And then maybe a half an hour later on, you start hearing some piano, like a piano riff, like another song coming in. You're like, holy shit, there's about to be another like gory murder spree. What the hell? And it just is that suspenseful, nail biting, sitting on the edge of your seat kind of dynamic to the music, right? So in that case, the music has some utility, all right? It has something that adds something to the plot, to the movie, where it's just like, oh my God, for the sake of the characters in this movie, we better not hear any more music, and you could add something like later on in the movie where they're in the courtroom and you got the judge and the jurors and the defense and the prosecution and all the people, out there and, in the courtroom, in the audience. And, it's people are just talking and all of a sudden you start hearing like some fingers snapping and another song starting up. And then you're like, oh my God, another killing spree is about to start. Like it's something like that. That would have been something where I think the music would have really added something to the scene there. One other scene that I thought was very, very good in this, because this movie isn't all bad, but it's mostly bad. But there is some good stuff in here. Like, I remember in the first one, they had the little person where he was like the only nice guy to Arthur when they're at the clown, the business, the business that Arthur worked for, working as a clown, right? And they had a little person here, Gary, and Gary. Unfortunately for Gary, he's there at Arthur's apartment with, I can't remember who the character's name is, but the bully character that the Joker ends up like just stabbing him right in the neck and bashes his head in. And of course, unfortunately, Gary's right there. He's like, ah! He's like this shocked, right? He's scared out of his mind because he thinks he's next to get murdered. And of course, in the first one, Joker's like, he lets Gary go because he's like, hey, Gary, you were the only one that was nice to me at work. And like he kisses Gary on the head and like lets him leave his apartment and lets Gary live. And so in Joker 2, since a lot of the movie is about the court or the trial about all the events of the first movie, then they, of course, call in Gary Puddles. That's the name of the little person there from the first one. Gary Puddles is his name, which, of course, cracks Joker up because he doesn't think Puddles is his real last name, just thinks it's a funny last name. And Gary Puddles is called up as a witness for the prosecution. And that scene is just very emotional, very taut, just very captivating. So that was very good. And before I crap all over, this movie some more, I mean, let me mention another couple of good things about this movie. They bring back the same composer who did the score from the first Joker, Hildor. I forget what his last name is. But the score in this movie is just as good as the first movie. It was very, very good. The cinematography is tip-top. Cinematography is out of this world. Looks so much better than just the lifeless, glossy, or the lifeless, overly glossy look of most movies nowadays. Nowadays, right here, this really, they just really pay attention to the color grading and the lighting, and so the cinematography just knocked it right out of the park in this. So if you remember the good cinematography from the first Joker, that continues on in Joker 2. Now, back to the music. Okay, so it's a musical because Arthur fancies himself as an entertainer, right? We saw him in the first one. He dresses up as a clown, for work. He's writing, comedy routines. He's doing bits, and he's fantasizing that, he's at a comedy club and cracking everybody up. He just fancies himself as an entertainer. And so entertainment, singing songs is the nature of his fantasy, right? Okay, it's like, so, he's going psycho, and while he's going psycho, he's living in this fantasy world where before he does something horrible, you're revealed to his fantasy where he's like this entertainer, and if anybody besmirches his fantasy world where he's like this gifted entertainer, then that's when he goes nuts. All right, that's when it's your ass, right, at the hands of the Joker. But that's why the fantasies are musical in nature, right? And that works. I mean, if Todd Phillips would have went that way, if that's why he was going to inject all this music into Joker 2, then I'm down. I'm on board. And that's what I thought he was going to do. That's why I was kind of looking forward to Joker 2, because I thought maybe he was going to be simpatico, like eye to eye with me, with what I was suspecting was going to be the case with this movie. But he didn't follow what I wanted with the music at all. Okay. And it just would have just blown the roof off this movie. I think instead of seeing almost universal hate for this movie, including with the critics and the audience, typically I wouldn't give a crap what the critics think, but the audience also hates this movie. With the exception of, a few fringe, users that are just trying to be contrarians on social media. Okay. Or they're just Todd Phillips family members on social media. With the exception of them, pretty much everybody hates this movie. But I think if they would have used the music for the purpose, like I was talking about earlier, where it's used for this foreboding telegraphing of just a gratuitous murder scene and that kind of thing, where Joker is just jokering out, right? Then I think that the music would have worked. But the music works in this movie as a delusion to Joker's delusion set to music here, and it's also Lady Gaga's or Harley Quinn's delusion as well, because she's big into music as well. Well, yeah, obviously in real life, Lady Gaga, and also the Harley Quinn character in there. They're big into music. They obviously know show tunes and pop songs and that kind of thing, and they're singing that throughout this movie right here. So, and you know what? Since I'm singing for my supper, let me wet my whistle here real quick. Oh yeah, got to wet my whistle, because you never know, I might break out in a song at any time here. There we go. All right, but like I was kind of mentioning before, the Joker 2 apologists, they are out in droves, okay, because they are out there. They're militant. Basically, the gist of what they all say, they pretty much all have some variation of basically the same theme, is you guys just don't get it. We do. We're smart. You're dumb. You don't get this movie. If you got this movie, if you were geniuses like us and you got this movie, you'd love it. You'd be singing the praises of Joker 2 from the top of a mountain right there. But I guess you're just not as gifted as we are. And I guess we're just going to have to live alone with our genius while the rest of you plebes just don't get the movie. And as a result, you don't like it. Okay, that's basically a variation on that same theme right there. Some of them also say, like, hey, just, you know what, just give it a second watch and you'll get what Todd Phillips is going for. Newsflash there, idiots. We get the movie. It's just, we also get that the movie is a big dog turn. Okay, because I don't know, Todd Phillips either wanted to make a movie that he knew wouldn't be a hit for Warner Brothers just to piss them off intentionally, okay? Because like I mentioned before, Todd Phillips didn't want to make a sequel to Joker, and neither did Joaquin Phoenix, okay? Or Todd Phillips wanted to intentionally make a movie that would piss off the fans of the original, because maybe he doesn't like the type of people that he thinks of as fans of the original. Okay, maybe he incorrectly and naively thought that the fans of the first movie were what a lot of the mainstream media painted the fans of the original movie as. Okay, so they painted fans of the original movie as a bunch of incels living in their mommy's basement, a bunch of keyboard commandos, that are afraid to talk to a woman. Okay. And that's what they painted all the Joker fans as, right? And so if Todd Phillips actually believes that, then maybe, yeah, he made the plot of Joker 2 a plot that he knew would piss off those kind of people, because Joker 2 completely deconstructs what everybody loved about the first Joker. Okay. The first Joker, a lot of people must have liked it because it made over $1 billion. It was the first R-rated movie ever to make $1 billion. Now, since it's been since surpassed by Deadpool and Wolverine just this year, but a lot of people liked it. And matter of fact, Joaquin Phoenix won a Best Actor Oscar and won another Oscar for something I can't remember. But it was a hit at the box office, and it was critically acclaimed. So people liked it. Okay, so the people that liked the first Joker movie shouldn't be smeared as bad people or anything like that. But that might have been another option that Todd Phillips. That's might be another reason why Todd Phillips created the plot for Joker 2 that he did. Okay, so I don't know. I don't have any definitive proof one way or another. If I'm going to be charitable to him, I'm going to go with the former potential reason, where he just wanted to piss off Warner Brothers. He can afford to, because he made a ton of money off the first Joker, and he didn't want to make a sequel, and it was almost Warner Brothers was just kind of twisting his arm. We want you to make a sequel, and he's going to get paid for this movie no matter what. So he might have been like, hey, you know what? I can make this movie a piece of crap, and I don't care. I mean, that'll teach you, Warner Brothers, to try to strong arm me into making a sequel that I didn't want to make right there. And the budget for this, okay, I mean, Warner Brothers, so this particular Joker movie they believed in, because obviously this movie, again, it was the first R-rated movie to make over $1 billion. So Warner Brothers dished out $200 million for the budget for this movie. The original one just cost $55 million there, okay? Which is, no amount of money, to laugh at. But as far as a superhero or a comic book connected movie, $55 million is nothing, right? Well, that $200 million budget, that's going to bite Warner Brothers in the butt right here, because the domestic gross so far for Joker 2 for this one is less than the domestic gross for The Flash and the Marvels, if you can believe that. It's just amazing how bad it's doing domestically at the box office. The international numbers, I can't imagine the international numbers are much better than what we're seeing domestically here. And the domestic gross for Joker 2 is more in the neighborhood of Morbius. All right, that's saying something right there. Morbius, it's making Morbius numbers right there, which is embarrassing, outright embarrassing, especially for a $200 million budget movie here. But hey, you know what? People were warned. I mean, Warner Brothers, I'm sure they heard at least once from Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, like, no, we do not want to make a sequel to Joker. I mean, it was like this perfect cinematic treat, right? This perfect cinematic creation where nobody really knew how much they wanted a Joker movie until the end credits rolled to Joker, and you're like sitting there in your seat at the theater, like, oh my God, this is wow. What did I just watch? This movie was incredible. This is just, it is because the plot was captivating. Okay. It held your attention. It was a slow burn. Okay. But that actually ended up working for the first movie, the slow burn, because then the ending where everything just goes just bat crap crazy was so earned, right? Because it was almost like you really got to learn in depth about Arthur Fleck, and then his devolvement into the Joker character. And so by the time he fully embraced Joker, it was so earned. You appreciated it so much, and so that's why most people, when the end credits rolled at the end of Joker, and they're sitting there in their theater seat, they're just like their jaws are to the floor, right? Their jaws dropped, and it's like and they loved it. And if you were me, I went and saw it at the theater again because it was so captivating and interesting, and just drew you in, right? And so and I was like perfectly fine, like just don't ruin the aura of this movie by doing the predictable thing and making a sequel. Okay, just leave it alone. But of course, Warner Brothers couldn't leave good enough alone or well enough alone. And here's what we got is Joker 2. And so I don't know. I mean, it's up in the air as far as what Todd Phillips intentions were really with this. Now again, those Joker 2 apologists that I was talking about right here, they are actually, some of them, if not most of them, are actually happy that the first Joker was deconstructed, because I think these are the same people, or I'm pretty confident these are the same people that did not like the first Joker because they didn't like the message they thought it was sending, where you have this character who he's neglected by the world, right? He just feels like no one wants him. He feels, he's a fish out of water, and he's got, he's, as the movie goes along, he learns these things about his life, where even his mother lied to him, and his mother allowed him to get beat by, the guys that she hooked up with, and so even his mother turns out, was cruel to him, as he discovers, and that really is the thing that really makes him snap and whatnot. And so you see this neglected guy, become this murderous villain, right? He's one of the, kind of the rogues gallery, not kind of, but part of the rogues gallery of Batman villains, right? And become, the clown prince of crime in Gotham. And these Joker 2 apologists, they think that the people that liked the original Joker were all these incels that liked the movie because they like the idea of a character that feels neglected. They like the idea of that character going on and murdering people that they felt had mistreated them and whatnot. And that's not it at all. That's not why people like the original Joker. They liked the original Joker because it was a movie that contained a primary character that was very interesting, very compelling. Okay, like how is Joker any different from Walter White in Breaking Bad, right? He's an anti-hero. People praise Breaking Bad deservedly, right? And they praise the character of Walter White and how Bryan Cranston plays him. But you didn't hear these same Joker 2 apologists going out there and saying, like, oh, anybody that likes Breaking Bad and is a big fan of watching Walter White, become this criminal. You guys are incels that live in your mommy's basement. You guys are bored. You guys are like right on the cusp of becoming psychos yourself. Like, they didn't say that about Walter White and Breaking Bad. So I don't know why they say that about Joker, because Joker is just another anti-hero, just like Walter White is in Breaking Bad. So no different than that. But so that is what we've got going on with Joker. Joker 2, or if you want to say, you want to go with the French version, Joker Folie à deux, or Filet à doo-doo, or however you want to say that, by all means. But I told you, hey, even though this was a bare bones edition, a stripped down version of Movies Merica Live, I would get my my thoughts, my feelings about Joker 2 out there to you all. So hopefully you guys watch this and are warned away from wasting your money, wasting your money and by seeing this at the theater right there. You don't have to go see this at the theater. Just wait for it to come out on streaming. And I think this is going to be out on streaming sooner rather than later right there, because this is going to be probably not as big a box office bomb, or, well, it's probably going to make more money than, say, Madam Web, because Madam Web is still a worse movie than this. This movie does have some redeeming qualities like the score and the cinematography. And then Joaquin Phoenix is still it's still decent as Arthur Fleck / Joker, not to the level he was in the original, not to the level that won him the Best Actor Oscar for the first one. Not at all. But he's still giving it his all. It's just he doesn't have very good material to work with in this. But yeah, so good, some good things, but the good things are greatly outweighed by the bad in this movie right there. It could have been so much better. Again, like I was saying with the musical, the way they could use the music, they could have used the music in this movie. I think that would have been so impactful there, with it being used as a foreboding, precursor to something murderously horrible about to happen and that kind of thing. So, but all right, well, hey, before my iMac crashes here, and I'm going to click a button here in StreamYard here that I used for this show, and hopefully it actually responds. That's one of the problems I'm having with the iMac is when you're using StreamYard to do the show, obviously you have to click buttons to do stuff, right? To play the intro and play little videos and that kind of thing. And so I'm hoping when I click this button, it's not going to hang and take forever to go and that kind of thing. So, but we'll take our chances. But like I said, I'm refurbishing Movies Merica HQ, and hopefully we'll be back to full operating strength here by this Thursday right there. But I'm going to wrap it up and not push it too far just to avoid a embarrassing crash going on here. But even with that, hey, like I always say, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Hey, everybody! Hey! I got the police after me. They're coming after me, okay? But I got just enough time to ask you. Just like this video, if you would, and then subscribe to this channel, okay? I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. I gotta tell you. And so before they haul me off, make sure you watch these videos over here, okay? And thanks for watching this video and the Till Death Podcast Network, okay? I gotta go.